Clara, I'd like you to line up your nose with the line on that mirror.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I'd like you to move your left foot without moving anything else and keep your nose right on that line.
Okay, I'll try.
Hey,
well,
it went off.
I'm going off.
Okay. Now, do the same thing again, but move anything else. The important thing is keep your nose on that line.
Okay. I'm moving my right arm then.
Now, you raised your hand right away,
yes.
didn't you? Yeah. What you were really doing was keeping your center of gravity. Have you heard about that?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you've heard of. Do you know what it is?
Not really.
It's an imaginary point where gravity seems to be concentrated.
Okay.
And every system, let's assume you're a system at the moment,
okay.
has a center of gravity. And what you were trying to do was the semicircular canals in your ears are giving you information about whether you're balanced or not, and you're trying to keep your center of gravity over some kind of support.
Okay.
So let's find out where your center of gravity is. I made a little teeter-totter. So lie down on it. Put your head here, okay, like that. Now, you know you can have an adult on one side of the teeter-totter and a child on the other, and you can move them back and forth until you get them perfectly balanced. That means the center of gravity of the whole system is right over the center part of the teeter-totter. So you got to move down that way, right?
Yeah. Okay.
A little more. A little more. Almost. A little more.
Like
there you go. There you go.
there.
Right there. Okay. Now, your center of gravity is directly above the pivot point of the teeter-totter, which is right there. So I'm going to mark that like that. Okay?
Okay.
Now get up and stand on the teeter-totter.
Okay.
Notice how you automatically stood so that you were your center of gravity is directly over the center of the teeter-totter again. So I'm going to mark that point. Now that's not your center of gravity. Your center of gravity is inside of you.
Okay.
Right in a line with this and this and this and this.
Okay.
Okay. Now try looking in the mirror again with your nose right on the line, and notice that your center of gravity is right on. It might move a little bit because you have a loose sweater on, but okay. Now line it up. Now move your left foot and your right hand to keep your nose
even.
See what happens?
Yeah.
You now your nose and your center of gravity stay lined up with that. Now that you know where your center of gravity is, you can play tricks on people. Run around here, stand against the door, put your feet right up against the door.
Okay.
And I'm going to put a book down here on the floor. All I want you to do is to pick up the book.
Well,
There, don't move. Hey, you move your foot.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, my center of gravity, the center point went over my feet, so my feet had to come forward to pull it back.
In fact, the minute that center of gravity gets over the edge, the semicircular canals in your ears say, "Move your foot, quick!" Yeah, so you did. Okay, try it once more.
Okay.
See that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now turn sideways.
Okay.
Stay up tight against the door. Okay. Now I'd like you to move the outside foot up. What's the matter with you? Why can't you?
I'm trying to push towards there, like lifting up my arm.
Yes. You'd like to move something on the other side
Yeah.
to keep your balance, and you can't because you're up tight. Okay. Now, go sit down on the chair over there.
Okay.
Nice and comfortable?
Yes.
Where's your center of gravity?
Right here.
Over the support, obviously.
Yes.
Now, with my little finger in your forehead, I'm going to hold you right there. Now, try to get up.
I can't get up.
Why not?
Well, my center of gravity point is trying to get up, but you're trying to push me back.
Okay, slowly get up and watch what happens where your center of gravity is when you can stand. Right there.
It's leaning over.
Yeah. The minute your center of gravity went over your feet, you could stand up, okay? Now sit down again. Try this on your father. Even a strong man like this probably cannot get up if you hold with your little finger right in the middle of his forehead. So try it when you get home.
Okay.
Good luck. Shan, I don't assume you've ever been a farmer, right? Because you live in the city. But have you ever planted some plants and had fun with them?
No, I haven't.
Really? Well, it's a lot of fun, and most people, when you think of planting plants, think about seeds. But they're sort of expensive when you buy it in that form. All you have to do is kind of keep an eye on what you eat. Watermelon?
Oh, you can grow seeds from that.
Right, yeah. So when you're finished eating, well, you save the seeds and plant them. After all, you can buy bird seed at the grocery store.
You can grow things
And
from
sure,
bird seed?
they're bird seeds. You know, they don't go into birds, but they go into little plants. Cherries, what's that stuff?
Garlic?
Yeah, that'll grow into a beautiful plant. And you can actually plant things that are really not seeds. Cut off the bottom of the carrot and the top of the carrot and plant it and whatnot, and it'll grow. In fact, you can go to the library and get a lot of help on how to grow things, but it so happens I have written a book.
Can we get that book in the library?
Yeah, a lot of libraries carry them, but I'm going to give you this one. It's called Mr.Wizard's Experiments for Young Scientists. And here's a whole chapter on grocery farming.
Oh, neat.
Grocery farm. With a lot of instructions on how to grow everything. So here, take the book, okay? And I'm going to give you all these seeds, and you bring them back when they're all grown, okay?
Sounds good. This should be fun.
Okay, and lots of luck.
Thanks very much.
Okay.
Bye.
Seems strange, Vanessa, that you were able to balance a salt shaker on the very edge. Yeah, how did you learn how to do that?
Well, Mr. Steve Jacobs taught me how to do this trick.
Yeah, I know, and he's full of tricks, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he likes science tricks. Okay, so what do? There it is, all finished, but do it again.
Okay.
So I'm sure you understand how you do. What's this piece of wood for, first of all?
Well, I need the wood so that you can do it on anything, a bed or a table.
As long as you have the piece of wood.
Yeah.
Right, because you need the flat surface, yeah.
Yeah, and I like this piece of wood here because you can see the difference between the salt and the wood.
Okay, so now what do you do?
Okay, first you have to put a little salt down on the table, or on the platform, and you try to get it to, you sort of try and get it on the edge of the salt.
What are you trying to do now? First of all, the salt shaker has a beveled edge, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then what?
You need one with the bevel.
And you want to get a little grain of salt in there, in that little bevel edge, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and that helps it stand up.
This is a very famous sort of trick that's in a lot of science books, so I'm glad that Mr. Jacobs showed you how to do it. So what happens then when you want get about, you move it forward to get another little salt grain underneath the edge?
Yeah, and it helps it stand up. You need lots of concentration to do this.
Yeah. Ooh, it looked like it almost was ready to go.
Yeah.
So now you're moving it forward in order to get more salt grains under that little beveled edge.
Yeah, because if you can see, it's starting to come into a little powder. The ones that it has.
Well, the fact that it was difficult shows that it's not an easy trick to do, right?
Right.
Now, what's the straw for?
Well, with the straw, you can blow the salt away, and it sort of makes it.
That makes it really mysterious. Okay, carefully blow the salt away. And now people will wonder, how in the world did Vanessa ever get the salt shaker balanced on edge? Right?
Right.
Very good. Well, congratulations. It's a good trick.
Thank you.
Most fires start by accident, but some are deliberately set, which is a crime called arson. How do investigators know if arson was involved? An important clue can come from debris found at the scene of the fire. Samples are collected and sent to a laboratory for analysis. Some of the chemists who work in such labs are trained at Northeastern University in Boston. They insert the probe of a gas detector into the samples taken from the scene of the fire. Gasoline and other flammable liquids that are often used by arsonists contain chemicals called hydrocarbons. Sure enough, the gas detector shows there is a trace of hydrocarbon in the sample. But what kind of hydrocarbon? To find out, they put a portion of it into an instrument that produces a graph-like plot of the chemical. They can then compare the plot of the unknown substance to those in a library of known chemicals. The plot of the sample matches that of gasoline, which was probably used to start the fire. The chemical detectives uncovered evidence that could eventually help solve the crime of arson.
I think my favorite out of all these was the garlic.
This
Yeah.
one? Why?
I think it was the most fun to watch grow.
Did it grow easily?
Yeah, and really fast too.
Well, it's a bulb, you know, like an onion, so there's a lot of energy there to grow rather quickly.
Yeah.
I see you have holes in the bottom, like you're supposed to.
I punched holes in the bottom to let the water drain out. I read that in the book that
Very good.
that you
Thank
gave me.
Okay.
and this one here is tomatoes.
Oh, how do you know? It doesn't say tomato on it.
Well, it has a number on it. I used the number system that
Okay,
you
and it's number.
number 9.
Okay.
That was one of the systems that
Right.
you mentioned in the book.
Did that come from a package?
The tomatoes? No, it came actually from
A
from
real
the
tomato seeds. Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Well, you'll have a nice crop of tomatoes.
Yeah.
How about this one?
That is bird seed. I was really surprised that that grew.
Boy,
I don't know. It just is.
bird
didn't
seed
expect
after
it.
all, it's seeds, right? You probably don't know what the plant is because it doesn't say on the outside.
No, it looks like some sort of grass, but
Yep. It's
I don't
probably millet, which is a very favorite sort of thing that they put in bird seed. But you have to wait till it grows up a little more, and then you'll have
Yeah.
to see if you can identify it. Very good. This one?
that is watermelon.
Ah, from
That
a
one-
watermelon?
Yeah, right from the watermelon.
Good.
That one, when I transplanted it first of all, it was in a little styrofoam cup. Then I put it into the bigger one, and when I transplanted it, it drooped, and it never really came back
Well,
up again.
it looks like it's reaching for the light. When it gets tall and skinny like that, it usually means that it wasn't getting enough light because the first leaves up here begin to manufacture food, so they need light. So
It's been
later
raining
on,
for quite a while. So
right, we haven't had very much sun, so later on, you're going to transplant it outside?
yeah, into the
Well,
garden.
it'll probably be okay then.
Yeah,
This one did well.
yeah, that's cantaloupe, right from the cantaloupe.
Ah, good.
Yeah.
So it is really a grocery store garden, right?
Yeah.
From foods. Then I see you have holes in the bottom of this too. All
Yeah.
right. This is really done well.
Yeah, that's beans. They're out of a package.
Okay, well, you're forgiven. You can draw one out of the package. Pretty soon you're going to have a little flower, I think, right there.
Yeah.
And then pretty soon out will come a bean, and then another one and another one. And are you going to transplant this too?
Yeah, right into the garden.
Okay, well then eventually you will have produce from your grocery garden, and I'd like to share some of it with you. Can I?
Sounds good.
Very good. Congratulations, Shan. You did real well.
Thanks.
You recognize this, I assume, Dana, right?
Yeah, it's a thermostat that you put in your house to measure the temperature of the heat.
Well, you not only measure it because there's a little thermometer in here, but it actually turns the furnace on and off, right?
Yeah.
Well, you and I are going to investigate what goes inside there, and it's based on the idea of a bimetal strip. Bimetal meaning, you know what bi means?
It means two.
Two, right, two metals. In fact, here are two metals right in front of you.
Yeah?
There are two wires made of metal, and I'm going to send electric current through them to heat them up.
Okay.
So you get down and sight right across those weights that are on the top there.
Okay.
And watch what happens as we heat up the two different metals. What's happening?
Well, the one in the front, it's sinking down, like
Right.
it's making an arch going
Okay.
downwards.
Now watch, I'm going to turn off the current. Go back up again?
Yeah, it went right back up to make the same level
Right.
as the
As it
back one.
cools off, it will go back up to the same height as the other one. In other words, what I did this for was to show you that metals expand, but different metals expand at different rates. Obviously, the one on the front expanded the most,
Yeah.
right? Okay, now let's assume, run around over here and light the candle.
Okay.
And let's assume that we take two metals and put them together to form one strip, which is what this is.
Okay.
You light the candle. Okay. Okay, you can put it right down there. Now hold the strip right in the flame of the candle and watch what happens.
It's starting to make an arch upwards. It's making a really
See
big
how
arch.
it's going up?
Look how it's bending.
Yeah, it's bending a
Wow.
lot. All right.
Yeah, because of the heat.
Okay, now you can blow out the candle. Okay. Now what happened was that looks like one metal, but it's actually two metals put together, like these two pieces of wood.
Okay.
Okay. Now watch what happens if I expand the bottom one. Watch what happens to the whole thing.
Oh, it's making an arch up right
Yeah,
in here.
it makes it go up.
Yeah.
That's why that went up,
I see.
because the bottom piece of metal expanded more. Okay. Now let's assume we take this piece of metal and form it into a coil. Okay.
Okay.
So go around over here. I have a thermostat all set up on this little piece of wood. Can you find the coil?
Oh, Oh, there it is, I think.
Yes,
It coils
that's
up
the
around
coil.
there.
Right, there's the coil made out of that bimetal. And at the moment, notice that there's no current going to the furnace represented by this light bulb, okay? So we want to cool off the room in order to make the furnace come on, and you do it here with this spray. Go ahead. Push down on the top, and out will come a spray of gas, and you will cool off the coil. There you go.
Wow, it
On
cooled
come the
off.
furnace, right? Okay. Now, this is the furnace. So turn on the blower and hold it at the coil. Okay, now the furnace went off.
Yeah, it turned right off.
Now, this time let me handle it because I want you to watch right there, right at the end. See, I put a pointer here?
Yeah.
Right at the end of the pointer, watch right there. Right now, that's a switch, and it's open.
Okay.
Watch what happens when I cool it off.
Wow, the switch moved down towards here and it
Right.
expanded.
And it
up there.
connected, right? Made a
Yeah.
connection and sent current over to the furnace, which now comes on. Now watch what happens to the switch.
It moved up again and the current turned off.
Right. So now you know
Wow.
how the thermostat works. What do you call the thing inside? Bimetal?
Bimetal.
Right. Here's another superstar of the microscopic world known as Spirogyra.
Spirogyra?
Spirogyra. And obviously the color gives you an indication, is it a plant or an animal?
It's a plant.
Right, and it's not moving either, right?
No,
Okay.
so it couldn't be.
Well, the reason it's called a Spirogyra, oh, there's a little, did you see that little animal that went
Yes,
swimming by?
right down at the bottom.
I'm now focused on the top layer, and now I'll slowly go down through,
Oh, it almost looks as if it's
sort of like it's moving.
Yeah.
Okay. Now hold on a minute. I'll go
turning.
to a little higher magnification, because now you can see the spiral effect.
Oh,
There,
Oh, that's
now you
really
see.
neat.
Isn't that neat?
yeah.
Notice, by the way, that little lump near the bottom of the picture, that's the nucleus. See it down there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's the part of the plant that divides and controls the plant. You can see the cell walls, too. Certainly the
Yes.
cell wall on the outside, but you see there's a line up above. See that line up
Oh.
there? That's the edge of the cell. So then, that's another reason why it's studied in botany, because the cells are very distinct and it's very pretty, and it has a
Oh,
very
yeah.
nice name, Spirogyra.
Spirogyra.
And you can see why it's called that, because it spirals away.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was becoming a familiar scene. A dead golden eagle found beneath a power pole. The bird had attempted to use the power pole as a perch and had been electrocuted. Idaho Power Company and other utilities joined together to find a solution. They went to Moire Nelson, one of the world's leading experts on birds of prey. He found a young bird in a nest atop a transmission tower. Then began the long, slow process of training the young female. At the same time, they ran tests on eagle feathers. It took 70,000 volts to make a dry feather into a conductor. A wet feather at 5,000 volts conducted enough current to kill an eagle. Nelson filmed the bird in slow motion to see how the electrocution occurred. Of course, there was no current in the wires on this test pole. The film showed that the eagle's wings were long enough to make a connection between pairs of wires. They found that the larger high-voltage towers were safe because the wires are too far apart for the wings of an eagle to touch at the same time. For the lower voltage poles, Nelson devised several types of protective measures, like this perch that could be installed above the wires. Because golden eagles perch on the highest places from which they are most likely to spot prey, only 2 out of every 100 poles had to be protected with the new perches. Today, utility companies can continue to transmit electricity without harming the mighty bird of prey, the golden eagle. Do you have a dress made of this, Vanessa?
No, I don't, but my mother does.
And what happens when she walks, when she wears this dress?
Well, it sort of waves around.
Yeah, it sort of waves all around. And that's because when it was made, it was a special process that originally was used with water, so it's called watered silk.
Okay.
And you and I are going to investigate that effect. Now, another way to do it, here, let me take the cloth, is with 2 combs. Do you have 2 combs at home?
Yes, I do.
Well, take 2 combs that have the identical number of teeth and hold one up behind the other and move them around. Do you see?
Oh yeah, the lines are sort of going back and forth.
Sort of like when your mother walks with her dress?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that's one way to look at them, but let's look at them on the overhead projector.
Okay.
There's a switch over there. Push that bar,
All right.
and that turns on a light here and shines it up here so we can see it on the wall over there. Okay. Here's one comb. Now try to line the other comb on top of it so that the teeth are perfectly lined up. Almost, right?
Yeah.
Now notice that light goes through the spaces between the teeth and is stopped where the two teeth are one on top of the other. Now move one of them just slightly to prevent the light from going through if you can.
Oh,
It's crooked. Wait a minute. Line it up so it's like that. Almost. There, just about. See it?
Yeah, you can hardly see the lines
Okay,
now.
now that's what makes the dark spaces. So when you interfere with the light, then you get the dark space. So that's why they're called interference patterns. Now move the combs a little bit and you'll see.
Oh, they make different patterns.
Yes, now you can see 2, 3, 4, 3 lines, 4 lines. And the more you turn it, the more interference patterns you see. Okay.
Yeah.
Now this is called a Moire pattern because that's the French word for watered. And your mother's silk is called watered silk. And you can see why, because when they originally made it, they were using cloth coming up through water. Now, see there are 2 screens down there? Look through one.
Okay. It
Okay,
just looks
now
like a normal screen.
It doesn't anything. I'll look through the other one now. Can't see anything there either other than
It
the
looks the
screen.
same.
Now put one on top of the other.
Oh, it's all mumbled jumbled up.
Well, sort of the Moire pattern, right?
Yes.
Okay, put them down here on the overhead projector now.
Oh, now you can see it a lot better.
A lot better, yeah. Now try to line them up to get the minimum number of black spaces. See, now they're almost lined up perfectly, something like the teeth of the comb, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now turn them slightly.
It makes different patterns. Different
Now they're
shapes.
coming more and more sort of at right angles to each other, so you see lots of interference patterns. And then keep going all the way around.
They're starting to look like diamonds now.
Yes. Now you're getting closer and closer to being together again.
Yeah. It looks like they have stripes on them now.
Yeah, they're sort of striped. Now, scientists use this principle whenever they put 2 thin films together that have little marks on them, they get this effect. And so they sometimes can use it to make sure the 2 are lined up. In fact, I'll challenge you to do that. See those 2 circles down there?
Yes.
Put one here on the overhead projector. Like that. Okay. Now put the other one on the top of it.
Okay.
Okay, now you see you've got it almost like, oh, perfect, almost perfect. Because you don't see any interference patterns, or just one maybe on the left, a great big, the left half is sort of dark. Now begin to move it, and you'll see now you're really way off. Keep going all the way around.
Okay. Oh, it starts making different patterns
In
as
fact,
well.
there's some modern art that's based on this effect.
Now it looks like it's a butterfly flapping its wings.
Keep going all the way around, see if you can get it to be absolutely perfectly lined up again. Not go back. Well, of course, you get the idea.
Yes.
Okay, will you hand me the silk again and turn off the projector?
Okay.
Right there. Okay. Now, next time your mother wears the dress, what are you going to call the material?
Watered silk.
And what is the pattern? Moire.
Moire.
Right. Very good.